So Ryan Murphy has only gone and done it again and has created an absolutely incredible thriller series. I thought it was so fascinating, so creepy, and the person that I think the Watcher is... What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video, we are going to be breaking down The Watcher, which is Netflix's brand new latest true crime thriller series. And on that point, it is just so crazy that most of the events that took place in this series actually happened and that the case itself is still unresolved. Honestly, I thought this miniseries was just so fantastic. It had me hooked straight from the offset and I just couldn't get enough of this series. I just binged it immediately. And in this video, we are going to be deciphering who we really do think the Watcher is and to review all of the things that I absolutely loved about this series. So sit back and relax as we discuss the Watcher. So I absolutely loved it how at first the series opens up with the Brannock family in a really idyllic situation in terms of them driving up to this brand new house and, you know, their dreams are coming true. They're moving into this incredible mansion in what they think is a really safe suburban town in Westfield, New Jersey. But then things take a bit of a sinister, dramatic turn when they get these really creepy letters and it seems as if somebody else is creeping in their house as well. So I love how it just literally turns from something that's really perfect to being a true living nightmare. And then it really does embody and fully goes into the whodunit scenarios as you would expect in a bit of a mystery true crime thriller. But what I also loved is that not only that, it really did look at the strains on a marriage, it looked at money issues, it looked at paranoia, obsession, social media, and a lot of horror moments as well. There are plenty of jump scares in this series, and I just thought it was so good. So from a positives point of view, I absolutely firstly think the group of characters that they created in this world were just so phenomenal. All of the neighbors in this area were just so eerie and they instantly did put a chill down your spine, and such fantastic acting in terms of bringing them to life. I absolutely love the mystery and it really did reflect the real life events that took place. If you read the article that this series is based upon, then you'll really see that a lot of things did mirror. So for example, the letter was word for word what the original family received. All of the neighbors, the people that live behind their house, all of them are a true reflection and representation of what really did happen, which, like I said, is just so crazy. And I just still can't believe that this actual case is currently unresolved. They don't know who the Watcher really is. However, from a negatives point of view, I guess they could have done a little bit more, especially with the Karen character right at the end when she then owns the house. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more with that. And also, I guess they could have had a few more jump scares in there as well. But otherwise, on the whole, I have to say this series from a storyline perspective was really wicked. So I have to hand it to Ryan Murphy and the casting directors, as they have done such a good job in selecting all of the different actors to play all of these awesome characters. As like I said, they are so individual, so brilliantly represented in this TV series, and I just feel like from an acting point of view, they all just literally brought their A game. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Bobby Cannavale, who I have been such a massive fan of over the years, and I have to say he is just so good as the Dean character. I would say pretty much he is the main character of this series and he just carries it so brilliantly. Firstly, you're really with him from the beginning of this series and wanting to have the American dream and wanting to provide for his family and the struggles that he has to go through in order to make this a reality. I wouldn't agree with the fact that he put all this pressure on himself and kept things secret from his wife, but that being said, I feel like, you know, you do really relate to this character, and then how his life is just turned upside down with all of these letters and how obsessed he is with wanting to solve it, and then the impact that this has on a number of different things. For example, paranoia, how he is always suspicious of a lot of people, and how this can have a domino effect in a negative way and spiral his life out of control. The impact that this then has on his career, the impact it has on his marriage, on his money problems, on his kids. I feel like this character was just so brilliant. And he himself even sent some letters, which, like I said, was just so mind-blowing. And I just feel like Bobby Cannavale, like I said, just brought it with the Dean character. And I love how right at the end, you do see that he still hasn't gotten over it. So you really do feel for the Dean character. Next up, we have Naomi Watts, who equally was really good. As the Nora character, she equally is really terrified from all of the things that are happening to the family. And she, out of both of them, really wanted to escape New York City and just have this idyllic paradise type life. But like I said, very quickly, it turns into a living nightmare. And I did like the fact that towards the end of this series, they gave her a pretty much dedicated episode fully towards this character, where she is the actual person talking directly to the detective, putting some clues together, being suspicious of her husband. And I just feel like, you know, she really did own it in that episode, and also in the interactions that she has with the wider number of different characters. I feel like Naomi Watts really did bring her A game as well. Next up we have Margo Martindale playing Maureen/Mona. This is the person that I think was the Watcher. She absolutely hated these guys and had it in for them straight from the offset. And obviously the DNA samples, which could have been doctored, but it did show that a female person was the person that wrote the Watcher letters. And Mitch and Mo lived directly behind the Brannock family, so could have easily used the tunnels. And I just feel like this character really did remind me of a lot of creepy characters that we did see in the Desperate Housewives TV series. And I just feel like it was definitely Mo. Otherwise, I do think the next suspect that we have on the list is Maya Farrow's Pearl character. Similarly, she absolutely hated these guys, especially Dean. And I feel like, you know, she just hated the fact that they were transforming this house into the modern age. On that point, so creepy, the Ode to House letters that Roger Kaplan was encouraging everybody to write. I don't know if it was true that there was a Facebook group created all the way back then, but there is a group now created to this, which I feel like is a really nice homage to the series. But anyway, going back to Pearl, she wanted to really preserve the houses, preserve the area, which is what the Watcher references in their letters, so it could be Pearl. Similarly, it could also be Jasper. I feel like he was a little bit of a red herring, as he would constantly pop up in the Brannock family's house, especially in that dumb waiter, which I thought was really, really creepy. But personally, I think Jasper is a little bit of a red herring, and actually I do think he's quite innocent. All of the John Graff sequences I thought was so chilling. Maybe it could be this guy, which he also calls himself William Webster, played by Joe Mantello. I feel like this guy could have been working with Pearl, and I feel like this was the guy that they were chasing in the tunnels. So I feel like he was definitely involved in some respects, but I don't feel like it was just him. So Christopher McDonald definitely seemed like prime suspect number one as Detective Chamberlain. Maybe he was giving Dean and Nora a lot of incorrect information to push them down the wrong path, whereas really he was the person that was masterminding everything. So when Dean and Nora confronted him and Karen, maybe it was correct that actually Detective Chamberlain was behind everything. Maybe it was the new neighbors that just moved in. Maybe they wanted to remove this family. Maybe they wanted to remove a lot of families from this property, and now they finally have it as their own. So maybe they could actually be the Watcher all along. Noma Dumezweni was really, really good as Theodora the detective in this TV series. Absolutely fantastic in The Undoing. And also when she played Hermione Granger in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, I feel like she was phenomenal as this detective. And I did think it was really humorous actually how she wrote herself into the plot narrative, and it did answer a lot of the unanswered questions in terms of where on earth did this girl suddenly come from in the bedroom, the fact that she made up all of the John Graff stuff, and the fact that she has always been there. And they do always say it is the person that you least suspect, but I feel like that solution and conclusion was a little bit unsatisfying, so I feel like it was the right decision to make it a bit of a red herring and not the true answer. But another suspect could be Mitch and Mo's son. He was a little bit crazy, and he really had it out for Dean, especially when he was the person that killed those two people that he made it seem as if it was his parents. So I feel like this guy really was pretty psychotic. Andrew Pierce was later revealed to actually be an actor, so maybe he was falsifying everything that he was feeding to Dean, and maybe he is the person that has been the Watcher all along. It could also be Dakota. I mean, he put all of the cameras there. He was conveniently there whenever they needed him. And maybe for the past couple of generations, his family have actually been the Watcher. And then we have Roger Kaplan, the mastermind behind the Ode to a House letters. And he then admitted that he has always dreamt of living in 657 Boulevard Street. So maybe it is this guy. But finally, we have to talk about Jennifer Coolidge, who was just so good. I absolutely loved her whenever she was on screen as Karen. Maybe she was the Watcher, but maybe there was another Watcher as well, which is the person that she saw right at the end of her sequence, which, like I said, was just pure horror 101. And I would have loved to have seen a little bit more from that sequence, as it was just so terrifying. But I absolutely love Jennifer Coolidge in this role. I feel like being a bit of a real estate agent that constantly wants her customers to sell their property is just a perfect role for her. Such presence whenever she was on screen as well. And I also love the fact that she actually shared a bit of a history with Nora, and maybe she was always jealous of Nora and kind of wanted to take away all of her happiness, which he kind of does admit when they have their final confrontation and conversation right towards the end of the series. But like I said, so many brilliant characters, so many brilliant cast members, and so many potential suspects. But who do you think it was? So from a visuals point of view, The Watcher looks really, really good. You can tell that they spent a lot of money on all of the sets and on all of the sequences as well, as they look so, so good. So first up, all of the mansion houses, they are so inspiring that you really do want to live in there yourself. Obviously, you don't want to go through all of the things that these people go through, but at least from a dreaming point of view, I feel like all of them are represented so brilliantly, and you can tell why so many people just want to live in this house and why so many people are jealous of people that do live in this house as well. All of the jump scare moments were really, really good. Like I said, I would have loved a couple more, but for what you do get, they are really, really good. I feel like the representation of all of the creepy neighbors is represented visually so well. All of the creepy letters are really, really good. And the voiceover guy for the Watcher, oh my god, absolutely perfect. Literally the perfect voice to truly put a chill down your spine. And you get to see all of the previous owners, all of the craziness that happened to them. And I feel like all of those stories were just captured in this series really, really well. And like I keep referencing, that final sequence with Karen in the property was so good. And I just love how Dean was just so obsessed with solving this mystery and just his mystery board as well. Absolutely loved it. And I just think it's so heartbreaking that this case just still hasn't been resolved and the Watcher is out there and nobody knows who it really is. So from a comparisons point of view, The Watcher is an absolutely individual series, but I have to say there are a couple of other movies and TV shows that you can compare aspects of it to. So for example, Kevin Bacon's You Should Have Left definitely does have a lot of haunted house aspects in there, and The Open House with Dylan Minnette, I feel like there are so many similarities. Firstly, of course, they both start in an open house and a lot of creepy things, somebody else living in the house with them and just creating a true atmosphere of evilness and darkness. I feel like you can definitely compare the two of them. I mentioned it earlier on, I feel like Desperate Housewives, there is a little bit of a tinge in this series as well that is very reminiscent to the things that those characters went through as well. And even though it was branded more as a thriller comedy, I feel like The Woman in the House Across from the Street from the Girl in the Window, the other Netflix series, I feel like there are a lot of similarities with that show as well. And of course, Ryan Murphy's body of work, all of the Haunted House series, and Scream Queens, I feel like a lot of similarities as well with that series. And even Scream the TV series in terms of constantly guessing who on earth the murderer really is. And also Parasite, especially with the underground tunnels and the houses being connected somehow. I feel like from a comparisons point of view, there are a lot of other shows and movies that will absolutely make you feel terrified. So overall, I absolutely love The Watcher. Going into this series, I wasn't sure what to expect from it, but I was so blown away and so pleasantly surprised by it. All of the acting was just top notch. All of the visuals were just absolutely incredible. All of the character portrayals and representations were just on another level. The creepy mystery solving was really, really good. And the fact that it was based on real life events, I still find so mind blowing. The episodic gripping narrative, I feel like was really, really good. And the fact that you get to see how it impacts people's relationships and their money issues, all of that was woven together so brilliantly in this series. And so for all of those reasons, I have to give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. And I would love to hear what you thought of The Watcher and who you really think The Watcher is. So please let us all know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.